So this is an interview we've been trying to get going for about 5 years. That'd be about right, wouldn't it, Phil?
Yeah, we're both hard men to pin down.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's an interview that had to be done. So for those that don't know, this is the owner of Eden Haulage. This is Phil Collinson. The link between myself and Phil is Speedway, obviously. So I think I might have met you at Speedway. You were racing a sprint car back in the day.
Yeah, well, you had a brief tenure into that. Unfortunately, work got on the road of that. Through, in no small part, through Gary Price and Corey Price from Central, South and Freight, Jason Scott. We are just, unfortunately, time just hasn't allowed. You know, Speedway, the only way to get good at it is to put time into it. Yep. Unfortunately, business running 7 days a week, night shift just doesn't allow, unfortunately.
And I suppose, a lot of the drivers or transport companies that we've been dealing with for a wee while have said it's bloody hard to get good drivers too, and you'd have to probably do a few trips yourself, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we unfortunately our absolute peak coincides with Speedway season. So stone fruit, particularly to Central Otago, is the January, February, even to a lesser extent December. Of course, that's when you want to be pedalling hard on the track. Even home track being Cromwell courses where too is also synonymous with stone fruit. So unfortunately, they both overlap. So I'm still there, keeping an eye from the sidelines now and then and cursing I don't get a chance to race. But hey, maybe in the next life, Jose.
Well, Well, let's roll right back. So where were you born? All that sort of scenario. Where'd you go to school?
I was born and bred in a little township 16 k's north of Invercargill called Royal Bush. Father was born there, as were his parents. The local transport company was within full view of my Royal Bush primary school. There was never really much hope for me from then, to be honest. So,
trucks were life.
Yeah, they were too. Yeah, club rugby is where too at Central Pirates Rugby Club,
which you're still very heavily involved with as well, eh?
Yep, yeah, 100%. Yeah, we put about as much time into that as what to do Speedway, unfortunately. But yeah, so that was a path we chose pretty much out of school. Worked for my father. Through James Hargis High School, then progressed to work for my father at South and Sheep Meadow only until I was old enough to get my heavy traffic licence.
Wouldn't have been as hard back in those days, would it?
No, I wasn't quite the back of a Weet-Bix packet. It was only one step removed from that. So
I thought they were steam engines back then too, were they? Was diesel invented?
We went for a test with a horse and cart. But long story short, my father's best customer, Calder Stewart's, required a driver in a hurry, had a licence, and being 3 years of running a little Mitsubishi back and forth between Central Otago and Milton, Tiarnell.
Was it your own, or was it something that was supplied to you?
A company truck. It was all building material, roofing, some timber. Rode the dairy boom. New dairy sheds were popping up with monotonous regularity in all four corners of Southland and Otago. Great job, actually. Young guys still managed to free up our time to play club rugby. Trainings Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturday games, hell of a social life Saturday night, Sunday recovering, and back in the race at work on Monday. So life was good.
Were you only good at rugby, just before we move on to
average. Just plodded mediocre club rugby player sort of thing. So, enjoyed the camaraderie, the relationships, and most sports, if you stick with it long enough, you'll sooner or later you're going to bump into some lifelong friends in some shape or form. And those guys I played club rugby with early on are still lifelong friends, really.
So then you did that job for Calder Stewart for a few years there. What was your next move after that?
From there, I didn't go too far. I basically went to Royal Bush Transport to gain some experience. I probably had more of a passion to do something what was sitting behind us here at the moment with curtain side or long distance work, but needed to gain some experience. Easiest place to go there to gain experience was my old stomping ground of Royal Bush. So made the move to go there and progressed from bulk tip truck, carting fertiliser, hay, and what have you onto livestock. Local south and wide, that stretched to Otago, to Canterbury, Marlborough, sporadic trips into the North Island, Hawke's Bay, live deer. As a youth growing up in Royal Bush, I lived either side of my parents' house was the McDougall family, which owned Royal Bush Transport. The youngest of the three brothers, straight over the fence. I used to try and spend as much time as I could in in the passenger seat with him in his Inter-Island D truck. So, and they were amazing influences in a variety of ways, those guys. The three McDougall brothers and the late Wayne Ox McEwen, who's recently passed, we a lot of their teachings we indirectly don't realise are actually still business philosophies we use today. Those guys were the perfect fools for each other. Between the Ox having the discipline, the hard business head, the McDougalls having the mana, great people persons, if you like. A lot of what we did learn then we couldn't put into today's business model due to lack of compliance, but an ability to get shit done. The phone went. The expectations were, if you weren't there 7 days a week, you're expected to be there 8. But you also lived a life of, probably the most enjoyable part of my driving career was working under that red and cream Rollbush Transport banner.
I suppose no matter what you did moving forward was always going to be easier than what you had to do then, wasn't it? The old 8 days a week type scenario, work hard. And I know Ox was a bit of a brutal, no mince in the words there. She was all, you told her how it was, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely did. You're never going to die wondering there. The McDougalls were hard taskmasters too, but it certainly held everyone that worked there in good stead. There was certainly a period there, a decade long there. Most people that after an exiting at some stage were always going to go into they either went into management roles, they were operations, a lot of them, Ox saw fit to put them into joint ventureships. Then others like myself and the Sinclairs from Winton started their own rural transport company up there. Tony Crack migrated to Rotorua, become Rotorua Livestock, and I've got no doubt in no small part that was due to thanks to the McDougalls and Ox and that whole worthy ethic they instilled in us.
So how long did you work for those guys for?
I was just short of 10 years. The Richardson, the late Bill Richardson bought my mentors, the McDougalls, out of Rollbush. And the directive was given that any contractors or owner drivers would be now null and void. And myself had an aspiration to be an owner driver. So that rug was pulled from under us then before we got going, if you like. And the time was right, but if I wanted to own my own truck, you should really, put your money where your mouth is. And as we quite often see, no matter which business you look at nowadays, if you see a disgruntled staff member somewhere, no matter where it is, Jason, you say, right, you think you can do better, you have a go at it. So it was a good chance for me to put my money where my mouth is, basically. So how did it go? How did it start off? Did you go borrow some money? How did it all go start for you? I absolutely borrowed money, all right. With having a passion to do more line haul, long distance, curtain side type work, also being born and bred in Rollbush, was Nelson Piper of Piper's Produce, if you like. So we always had a relationship with them in some shape or form through Rollbush Transport. We watched from a distance operationally how his produce was moved north. We made an approach to him to see if there was anything we could offer up service-wise, paint or brand a truck or brand some curtains with his insignia, with his bags, to give him some advertising, and he jumped at the chance, you would say. We borrowed a significant amount of money off UDC Finance to finance the first international track unit, which is still sitting out there to this day. Second-hand set of trailers, pretty shaky business model, no working capital whatsoever, was left out of my holiday pay, and forward we went. Yep. And now, obviously, it's growing. I remember the first time I actually seen your trucks. You were down on Bond Street there with a sort of an average sort of a setup, and then you got this deal here. You're now on Onslow Street with a reasonably new sort of a shed, a big yard, and everything's sort of definitely gone forward for you, isn't it? It is, JC. It's particularly the Piper's Produce relationship has opened doors with other growers and other markets, because we were seen to be carting carrots and potatoes into Christchurch for those growers. Other growers reached out and said, hey, can you cart our produce, our greens, ex-Christchurch back to Invercargill? Because we're seen to be carting packaging for one customer was seen to packaging for another. And these relationships have grown. Hey, sometimes it's someone we've played rugby with, sometimes it's someone we've known through speedway. And invariably it's been mates and it's been word of mouth, and the most important part of our business is people in some shape or form somewhere.
I think one of the things that most of us would agree on is the presentation of our vehicles too. Like, you obviously have a great pride in making sure that every vehicle that leaves here looks in good shape. I mean, there was a lot of work getting involved to get them ready for the Labour weekend truck show, but at the end of the day, there wasn't a heck of a lot really, just a bit of scrubbing and polishing here because they're kept in good shape anyway. Well,
the fact of the matter is, Jace, we're carting food. Most of what we do is based around food cartage, and no one wants to see anything they're going to consume come out of something that's pretty shabby.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is that there's probably a few things we want to get right, like if your pricing's near enough, if your service is pretty good and your image is right, it's highly likely you're going to be allowed back at the customer's site next week. Should one of those three drop, then you've got to start questioning where you're at. So, hey, it'd be great to be able to have an immaculate fleet every given day of the week. But the fact of the matter is, we're a 7-day-a-week business. A lot of our guys are, they're away at between 3 and 5 nights a week.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't ask them to do any more than we don't want them doing any more than that. We want them home, and we want them out of the trucks, and we want them with their families. We want them at the speedway on the bank.
Mm-hmm.
We want them playing rugby, watching the kids. We want them doing 100 different things apart from cleaning trucks on Saturdays and stuff on the day off. They'll roll in back again to run out on Sunday afternoon or Monday afternoon or Monday morning, and 3 young guys hook into the washing over a Sunday, and fingers crossed, hey, if we're lucky enough to have the guys that have got time or can make time to do it driving wise and fit washing in, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a prerequisite,
I see you cart seafood as well.
Something we've expanded into a little in the last few years. Mussels anywhere between Bluff and Coromandel, to be honest. So aquaculture has seen some really, really rapid expansion in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
So we've ridden the coattails of that, I suppose. There's some big boys, some big seafood conglomerates out there at the moment. We just basically give 2 or 3 of them a hand.
Yep.
Seasonal variables, of course. COVID played a massive part in what we did or didn't move. Seafood wise, some of it's used for medicine, so that's opening other doors as well too.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certainly a bit of carting coal to Newcastle. It's not uncommon to cart mussels into the North Island to the factory at Tauranga and Apotiki, and reload mussels out of there and cut them all the way back down to Marlborough Sounds type thing. Diversity
is obviously a key thing for you, so if there's an opportunity there, you'll take it. Is that pretty much what you're saying?
Oh, 100%, as long as it's compatible, and I suppose you'd say we've got to be passionate about what we're doing as well too. And the fact of the matter is, with most transport companies, and particularly this line of work with fresh produce, 7 days a week, you've got to have passion for it. If you're just going to line up and collect a wage, you come to the wrong place. You've got to be driven. You've got to be dedicated. My wife, in earlier years in our relationship, she certainly didn't come from a transport background. And I remember her remarking she could not believe how business could absolutely consume you from waking in the morning to last thing at night to the phone ring in the middle of the night. It's just, your life revolves around it, simple as that.
And tough times keep you awake at night too, so it wasn't, it's not always easy. A lot of people think you just, everything's handed to you on a silver platter, but you've got to work hard for this type of deal, don't you?
Oh, 100%. It's a small margin. We've ridden out a couple of ridden three reasonably shaky storms. We had ex-partner relationship probably left me back in the day. We had a silent partner tied up with a shareholding in one of the trucks, retired. So shareholder payout was a massive amount of dead money, and also as a lot of small businesses, unfortunately suffer internal fraud through a former administration person, ex-sister-in-law. So if you can't trust your ex-sister-in-law looking after your books, Jace, but it's all part of the learning curve, there wouldn't be, I learned far more from my mistakes when I have my victories, put it that way.
The thing is, you get stronger from it, and maybe the trust thing comes not that easy these days with that type of thing happening to you in business. I'm talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately, you tend to look over your shoulder at everyone a hell of a lot harder after an experience like that. But we've ridden it out. There was more money borrowed and more non-productive debt, but also lucky we've been had a good balance sheet, or a better than average balance sheet. We could afford to go back and refinance and tough our way up through these things, and we want to see too many more of these disasters over. Yeah.
It's definitely been a bit of a tough haul the last few with the cost of living crisis and stuff like that. So I suppose if you can come out of something like this, you're always going to be a bit stronger on the other side, aren't you? So, it's just got to ride the wave, don't you?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, one thing I suppose either the school of hard knocks or maybe just being old now has maybe taught me to have a bit more holistic sort of approach into everything. And it doesn't matter if it's discussions with drivers, with customers, with that seat administration person, we were just trying to see the other side of someone's perspective, I don't warm at all well to anyone that's got a selfish or biased point of view, Well, hey, it's great to be able to have that conversation with the other side of the fence, How does this person think? What would they be thinking if they were in my seat? Or can they see my point of view? And let's be diplomatic about it. Does my wife's head in. She said, well, you don't need to do that justification. Make a decision and run with it. I'm saying, no, I want to show how I've reached the decision.
Yep.
So instead of saying, hey, I'm not an aggressive person, it's just we want these guys on our side,
Yep, absolutely. Let's go back to the trucks. Of course, you said to me before that your very first truck that you bought still out there in the fleet. Is that your favourite one? Do you have a favourite one?
No, to be honest, Jason, it's the one that probably costs the least to run financially. It's probably my favourite. And that, to be fair, it would be. It was the international brand was something synonymous with Royal Bush Transport. And it was, I wouldn't say it was necessarily always going to be an international, my first truck, but it was, and it was followed by another two. Got very little resale nowadays as most second-hand trucks, but it's quite a depressed market. So we use it there. Seasonal work basically. It wouldn't do 60,000 k's a year now, that truck probably, but it adds value to the business. It's
how many miles has it done?
It's kept the first part of its life was only Invercargill to Eden return, so it's kept the kilometres low, and it's been a spare truck since 2016. So it's only sitting at 1.9 million k's, which that's not too bad in the big scheme of it.
Yeah, I suppose. But there's no loyalty to any type of trucking brand either. I see you got Western Stars, you got Kenworth, you got internationals. Is there anything you prefer over others? Like, is there a truck that you go, God, I'm never going to buy one of those again? Or is there a truck that you sort of like, oh, this thing's been good to me, I want to buy more of them?
Well, to be honest, our international salesman, we bought the first three off him, and at one stage it was a worldwide shortage of engines. So by default, we bought a Freightliner with a Detroit engine and with an auto shift. And it was an atrocious truck, performance-wise, engine-wise. We had all sorts of issues with it. The warranty department were abysmal to deal with, and we just suffered we had to carry the can for being a small company where they said, oh, hey, if you had 20 or 30, we'd probably give you a bit of a handout, but sorry, pal.
Not enough invested.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we learned from our mistake there that we wouldn't be going back to that dealership. And between times our salesman, Adam McIntosh, shifted to Southpack Trucks, which sell the Kenworth and DAF brand, and we haven't looked back since. The truck you see behind us here, Western Star, always had a passion to own one, but didn't quite fit the model for us, what we wanted to do. Through lack of availability of subcontractors, we needed a spare truck, you would say, or a seasonal truck as well too.
Yeah.
So we grabbed this old tart here, $30,000 truck, and threw some paint at it, and threw it into export meat and cherry, apricot, nectarine cartage for part of the year. So $30,000 truck. If it parks up for 6 months, it doesn't turn a wheel to particularly worry us. But we felt if we couldn't carry something like that, there was too hard to find reliable subcontractors when we needed them. Given that, we've got some other guys lined up for the season ahead, and the subbies we have performed admirably, but there's just not enough of them out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't look like a $30,000 truck though.
Oh, it's amazing what a bit of paint hides.
yeah, a bit of a touch up here and there.
Yeah.
Maintenance, I mean, say you call yourself a small business, and in my eyes, you're probably a little bit bigger than small, but maintenance costs and stuff like that. Do you have a lot of issues because your trucks are going reasonably most of the week? Has that become a bit of an issue for you, or are they reasonably reliable?
We've chosen the reason we chose the Kenworth. The Kenworth has got a Cummins engine, which is easy for parts, easy for maintenance. The DAF is also part of that same family as well too, so parts availability is not much of a problem. We've also got the dedicated mechanics that work out of here are old school. They'll get it done at night, Saturdays, Sundays. Something with a relatively regimented sort of roster, so we can free up gear. We do a lot of preventative maintenance. We probably overspend on the preventative maintenance, but it gives us longevity out of our trucks. I mean, rightly or wrongly, we're running trucks as front runners with some big kilometres on them that other companies would have guessed prior. But it's a path we've chosen to go down that's probably paid dividends. And hey, you know, instead of quitting a truck prematurely, we'll get 2 lives out of it. We look at what our mates in Australia do. You know, no issue to them to bash out 3 million Ks in interstate and still run hard. Whereas New Zealand over here has got a mantra, it's got 1 million Ks, we need to quit it.
You get rid of it,
And that's, hey, do the maintenance right, you know.
And so what's the truck with the most miles? You said the old girl's got 1.9 million on it. What's your truck that's got the biggest Ks on it?
There's a second-hand one we bought, rightly or wrongly, that's got 3 million on it. It's on its way to Christchurch as we speak with carrots and potatoes on today. So it's also perhaps having an easier life. Well, you wouldn't think so, going to Christchurch on Labour Day Monday, but it's out there doing it.
It's actually quite crazy when you say that, because like you are carting food as well, so you need the trucks to be reliable, because you can't really just pull up on the side of the road with broken down trucks all the time. So preventative maintenance is probably a very key aspect to your business, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Hey, to be fair, new trucks have been breaking down too. You know, the roadsides are scattered with them. So, but
you've got to plug the computer in to get it all sorted out now. Not like the old days, is it?
100%. So as long as having, you know, our suppliers, service agents and what have you that can jump when something does go bad, invariably we break down as well too. Pretty grumpy when it happens, and it's a great witch hunt. And why did this happen? And did we foresee this, or why? And then it happens.
And of course, we're sitting in a pretty nice setup here. This happened a few years ago now. I don't know whether your lease was up in the other place or whatever, but you decided to set up yourself up down on Onslow Street. So has that been a good move for you?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, look, Jason, we're very lucky that we had some really, really good lease property arrangements. Early on was my best customer was Piper's Produce. You know, minimal lease there, if any. From there to north and south, and once again, really well looked after. Basically outgrew these places, their fleets expanded. From them was to Bond Street through Invercargill City Council. Couldn't reiterate, they were terrific to deal with all the way through. And then finally, like anything, like renting a house, there's no point paying someone else's mortgage. So this facility, Renell, became available on the market. We grabbed it, a bit of a work in progress. Number of things we want to do around here as we can afford it. Undercover canopy, undercover wash bay, accommodation block for Canterbury Drive and a few others, but we'll just chip away as we can afford it. Whether that's between now and 2030, you tell me.
Well, I don't know. It depends, doesn't it? So let's talk about something you're obviously quite passionate about. And I realised I was on Facebook the other day, and I seen you putting a bit of an SOS out for some people to come and get ready for this Labour weekend truck show. And I'm not really went down for getting my hands dirty, but I sort of said, I'll come down, and which is probably one of the main reasons I came down here, because once again, people don't see the effort that goes in behind some of the stuff that you guys do. We're talking to your driver before, and he's working all week, and then he's spent 2 days on getting his truck ready to go for a truck show. It's a bit of a commitment there. So that's obviously a way for you to show off your fleet, and also give a bit of pride in your fleet. Is it something you enjoy doing?
Absolutely. Look, I remember going to the Invercargill truck show as a young, I might have been 6-7 years old, and and all of them scorching down D Street as they did back then. And these guys are carrying my passion. Like, it's certainly not compulsory by any means. You want to be in a truck show for the weekend, you go for it. If you want to be away in your jet boat, you do that too. There's no one's holding a gun to anyone's head for a truck show. But for us, it draws a good line in the sand as far as if we've got something that's not quite right on a truck, we say, right, we want this done, fixed for truck show weekend, let's get it sorted, And we can't demand or force. We won't do something if it's not 100% right for a show. So the only way to do that when you've got trucks that are working 6 and 7 days a week is to throw manpower or lady power or kid power at it and get it done. We put the same efforts into our trailers as what we do our trucks.
There was quite a bit of interesting, actually, Phil. There was families down here. It was a bit of a family environment. You had the old barbecue. going, and sort of like involved everybody, doesn't it? And the kids love it just as much as what the drivers do.
Oh, absolutely, JC. Like, once again, being born and bred in Royal Bush as a young fella and hanging around there and going for rides and trucks in the workshop and whatnot, that there's a real, there's been a real, for the poor, a culture shift in transport, work safe, health and safety of kids not being allowed on work sites for obvious reasons, and we totally understand that. But, within reason come truck show weekend, we say, right, let's bring the kids into the environment. We encourage them here,
Yep.
We've certainly got customers where we can't have children on site, and we totally respect that. But by gee, we've also spec top bunks and all our sleeper cabs as well too. So we've got guys want to take the kids with them away overnight to Christchurch, the North Island, Nelson. They do that over the school holidays, and kids will have terrific memories made with Dad.
Absolutely. No kids were harmed in the making of this film either. So moving on from that, talking about that, I should say. So everybody come and put a big effort in, put the trucks into the truck show. And we learnt yesterday that it was 42 years this has been going for, the old truck show. So it's just getting right up there.
It's up there, yeah. There's some great stories to be told there from some of the winners on the cup.
Have you ever won it before?
Me, not personally. I've had some of my trucks been lucky enough to take it away. To be honest, Jace, we don't read a whole lot into prizes. And in fact, we'd put the same effort in if there was 0 prizes. It's just, for us, it's good to draw a line.
Tell that to the man that won it yesterday.
Well, he's as a person, he's probably the most deserved winner you'd come across. Truck I could take or leave, But as far as a person, vested in the company, vested in his job, great operator, but also a terrific person to work alongside. I've been guilty in the past of employing, first and foremost, terrific skill set, but some of those people have been absolute pricks to work for or alongside. I've gone the other way. I've employed guys with reasonably average skill set. You can train skills, you can't train attitude.
No. He said he had nice things to say about you, which is quite surprising. So that's obviously good. Does he get a pay rise for that?
I was going to say, clearly,
got your back, Hayden.
Clearly there's pay negotiations on the radar there, Jason, is it? Yeah.
All right. So from here, what's the future hold for Eden Haulage? What's your plans?
Consolidation. We've seen how our New Zealand's economy's travelled in the last 12 months. Weather-wise, a lot of our produce is at the mercy of the weather gods. We truck a heap into the North Island when they've had poor weather. This year, North Island's had terrific weather. Southland's had the poor weather. So there's been a squeeze from the supermarket chains, of course, cartage-wise. So now it's a case of, right, let's knuckle down and get some debt paid off. Let's hopefully do something about the building here.
Yep.
Got a couple of trucks that are well overdue for refurbishment, curtains, paint, etc. So it'd be good to get them tidied up, and I want to keep some drivers happy. I'm not. I want to make my drivers happy. I don't want them out there in the elements. I want them under a cover canopy. I want the guy with the unpainted truck having a good paint job and curtains, exactly what we've got on the brand new ones out there.
Bit of pride in the fleet.
Yep, 100%. Yep.
I mean, I bet you some of those trucks could tell some stories, eh? Is there a story you could tell the people that are watching that would sort of like, whoa?
Oh, any stories like that would probably more feature probably me when I just had the one truck. Like, things have changed. Back in the infancy of the business in 2005 to 2008, the phone went and we did it. We covered me anyway, had covered the ground. You couldn't ask anyone on wages, compliance-wise. As soon as we got drivers, wage staff members, what was achieved then just couldn't be done, and we don't need to. We're all on set runs, all's fine. One story that springs to mind. We unfortunately had a fatal accident at Burnham a number of years ago. Our driver, the late Stu Galeson's passed away. Sadly, he minding his own business Friday night, heading towards Christchurch, load of carrots on, and cleaned up an off-duty Australian soldier out running on the road under the influence of alcohol, and went through the investigations with 3 of them, CVIU, Traffic Police, or 4 actually, New Zealand Defence Force, Australian Defence Force, and they left no stone unturned. And the drive camera we had operating told the story, which exonerated us. There was no issue with that. But
wouldn't have been an easy process.
No, terrible on the driver, terrible on the family. gee, heart breaks every day for that family to think that their dad and their husband wasn't coming home to Australia, out doing his job and didn't make it home. So, you certainly learn from these experiences for better or for worse. And sometimes it's not the experience, it's how you handle it at the end of it.
We do a few Ks on the road as well, and the amount of near misses that we've had, in the 5 years that we spend on the road, I'd hate to think how many your guys have had as well, and it sort of definitely keeps your eyes focused and forward, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Look, it's probably more a society thing, Some of those accidents only, as Patrick O'Brien from Freightlines said in a pretty well documented interview with Lana Cockcroft, they're caused by three things: ignorance, inattention, and what was the third one? It'll come to me. I've forgotten what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's just crazy, isn't it? Oh, well, that's good. Well, you've done a good job, and you've got a good fleet and got good workers working for you, and they got won you the award yesterday, which is obviously, one of you is cocky apparently about it. I'm not sure which one that one is. I think one of the young fellas might have said something along those lines, but it's awesome to see, and it's well deserved. And it's been, once again, it's a bit like my story. It's watching something start from nothing and then grow and grow and grow, isn't it? So
it is. And
there's many people to thank. Like, is there people that
the list is endless, and I'm not going to be able to name. I'm not even going to attempt to name any one person. Otherwise, I'll leave some key people out. Obviously, my wife and daughters and whatnot. I have to sacrifice a fair bit for me to attempt to be here every day, but it's the mates and relationships, the drivers that are vested in it, their families. They have to sacrifice a lot for Dad to be away X amount of nights a week. With that, the mates that have given up Saturdays and Sundays on the days off from Fonterra to drive for us, Skies and Christchurch on the day off, unloading and reloading a truck. They've all been paid. They've all been paid well, but they've chosen to do it, and that's the approach they take. Is the people who want to be around it, they'll put someone else's causes before their own. They could easily all be sitting on their own couches, but no, they're out there doing it for us, and our business wouldn't be where it is without any of the input from all these sort of people, the families, the drivers, the suppliers. You can't be dealing with good people, Jace, you really can't. So surround yourself with good people, and some of that rubs off.
Absolutely right, 100%. Well, thank you very much, Phil, for the interview.
Thank you, Jason.
Folks, you can visit Eden Haulage's Facebook page. It's available on Facebook. Do you have a website?
Not at this stage.
He doesn't have a website, but he's definitely got a Facebook page. There's a few photos and bits. I had a wee bit of a look before I came here today. Some pretty cool shots from all over the country with some of their fleet. So, thanks, Phil. And thanks to Hayden as well. He's standing over there. And, had a good day here at Eden Haulage. Take care.
Thanks again, Jason.
So we'll bring in the guy that actually won the King rig for the whole deal, which is awesome. He's from Eden Haulage. His name is Hayden Brookland. Hayden, mate, you must be stoked. Congratulations on that win, mate.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, no, it was good, eh?
Tell us a bit about the truck, obviously, all the aspects of it. What is it? What's the motor? What's horsepower? Everything.
It's a Kenworth K200. 600 horsepower. It goes all right.
So what's your run? Where do you go?
Anywhere from Auckland south.
Oh, yeah. You spend a bit of time on the road?
Yeah, quite a bit.
And what's the unique features of this truck? Obviously, these Eden Haulage trucks are always looking $1 million anyway, but I mean, trying to keep this thing shiny must be a bit of a mission itself, is it?
Yeah, with the roads, mate, it's unreal how to try to keep it shiny.
So you basically came back from a run and then you're straight into getting this thing cleaned up. How long did it take you to get into this condition?
2 days. Well, day and a half.
Yeah. So on the wash pad and then straight in and start detailing it. I see they had quite a few people come in and help out and get it all nice and shiny.
Yeah. Onto the wash, about 7-8 hours on the wash, into the shed, about 12 hours in the shed, out and pray for no rain.
Well, you're a bit lucky yesterday. I didn't think it was much rain in there.
No, there wasn't.
But it's an immaculate looking truck and obviously deserves to win that role as the king rig. So what do you cart?
Produce mainly, wee bit of poly out of Nelson and a bit of general freight.
Yeah. I actually buffed your headlights, your covers of your headlights.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, mate. That's what won it.
Yeah. I already know that. It's the way the whole scenario goes. So, you've done a few miles this truck. How many Ks are on it?
824,000.
I heard something unique yesterday. Is that your father or your grandfather had won this king rig about 39 years ago, I'm led to believe. Is that right?
Yeah, grandfather.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So And I noticed your partner there was sort of saying, wish you had done it on the 40th year, you know, so it would have made a little
40
bit more.
years apart, yeah.
What does it mean to win an award like this?
Oh, it means everything. It's crazy, like, I'm still a bit shocked, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had all this media attention today as well, which, you know, you're not used to. I see you got your best shorts on and your best jandals, so yeah, normal trucky sort of scenario, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you obviously do quite a bit of line haul and stuff. So has it got a sleeper in it? And obviously it has, but, you know, do you stay in it, or do you?
Yeah, that's my home.
Yeah.
Home when I'm away. Yeah, same bed every night, so then.
Yeah. And it's a unique sort of a lifestyle, isn't it? Because you spend so much time on the road, you know, it's sort of, it must be hard at times to, you know.
It is a wee bit. Gets a wee bit challenging, but hey, you just get up and put a smile on your face and keep on going.
Yeah. Oh, well, you'd be stoked to win that King Rig, an amazing achievement, really.
Definitely.
Considering the miles that these things do, you know, like you said, the roads are pretty tough, but everything still looks shiny and good, and you obviously look after it. You're one of these ones that stops at places, and then when you stop, you get out your cloth and start polishing it up to keep it looking good.
Oh, sometimes. Depends what sort of mood I'm in, and depends what the weather's going to do. I'll get out and quite often get out with the tyre shine and everything.
And so they painted all so we look around this truck, like they've gone into great detail. You can see here all the Bridgestone, that was all painted on there. I'd see there was a few kids running around when they were detailing the trucks, making sure that everything looked $1 million, eh?
Yeah, mate, yeah.
Did you take these off and polish them, or did you hand scrub them?
I pulled it apart.
Incredible.
Pulled it apart, shined it up, put it back together. That was the time-consuming part, was doing all those steps.
Yeah, it would be. And I mean, obviously it's just a cool wee piece of kit, isn't it? The old Kenworth.
Yeah.
And it's quite unique. All these trucks have got their own little names, like yours is Spud 12, and all the graphics, which we'll show very shortly, on it. So what motor and what you said it's about, what did you say, 600 horsepower?
Yeah, 615.
615.
Yeah. Cummins
motor.
Yeah.
Big turbos on it, obviously.
Yeah, I'm picking so. Don't know, mate. I'm just the driver.
A couple of air intakes in there. You don't know the specifics. You just drive it, keep it looking good.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it must be pretty cool cruising along in this thing on the open road, eh?
Yeah, and it looks apart when it's coming towards you.
Yeah, because you guys are well known for the lights at night. I mean, you guys, these things light up like Christmas trees, don't they?
Yeah.
What colour's all your lighting? Is it all green?
Nah, no underglow or nothing, just the normal wild marker lights and shit.
Yeah. They look bloody amazing coming towards you for sure. See them on the road all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Hayden, hey, well done, mate. Congratulations. And I'm not sure much we can talk about it. I mean, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? You know?
It does, yep.
And you're a truckie, so you're not really that keen on talking anyway, so you've done pretty good so far.